Hi Collective, welcome to my channel, Mystical Crystal Shadow Work. Hi everyone. So this is going to be another investigation that I'm doing off of the download that I received and the deep healing that I felt happen in my experience that I had last night. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit of that at the end of the reading. If you hang out, you'll get to know more of my story and the deep healing and experience that happened just last night that triggered this investigation, right? So I woke up this morning and I started researching it right away, and oh my gosh, just the healing that was underway was just so amazing. So anyways, I already shared a link in my community post. Well, the link should be in there, but I did a couple screenshots of the page that I was on. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading from that to explain why these soul ties are so powerful and how the enemy has very much been using them against us, chosen Lightworkers, Earth Angels, that a lot of us were sought out from a very young age. And a lot of these things were imposed upon us that you might not even be aware that happened. All right. Now, this reading can be intended to reach so many souls, right? As I was told that it could be for many different reasons. For some of you, it was to get, for you to understand about soul ties and what they are and how they can affect your entire life, right? When they're not released and things like that. And there are ways that you can release and do cord cutting rituals, things like that. But we're not going to get into all of that. We're just going to talk about how you can literally release them with your mind just by talking to God, divine source, saying those prayers. And you have so much power over your own world, your own life, that you can release these attachments. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm going to explain the step-by-step process as I did it, what happened and all of that at the end of the reading. Okay, so anyway, so you could be guided in to let you know about these attachments and stuff. Then I'm going to be talking about how the enemy can very much has been using these, right? So anybody can get guided to this reading, but as you know, my platform is created, right, for you guys to find this when you're meant to find it, but it's also, very much for the chosen, divines, light bringers here, starseeds, earth angels, all of that, right? So for a lot of you, it's like, a lot of you were singled out when you were very young because you knew that, or they knew. The enemy often knows your powers, your gifts, your abilities before you even do, right? So for a lot of you, it's like you were singled out, and also because we're born into these toxic and karmic families, because we're trying to break up these ancestral woundings and patterns, and a lot of these demonic entities and stuff have made attachments to our family members that we came in right away to battle. So it's like before we were even of age to even know our powers, that we were here on these amazing gifts to battle these, we were already sought out, right, by the enemy. So one of the ways that the enemy was doing this was through soul ties. So a lot of us chosen, and anybody who finds this that has experienced any type of sexual abuse as a child abuse, things like that, sexually and things like that, for a lot of you it was because the enemy was using sex as a way to, or it's even from what I was reading, is that you can create these soul ties and bonds and everything, even through like long drawn out kissing, long drawn out hugging when the intentions are there, even, and why can I say that? Fantasizing and things like that. I never knew that until I started to research it. That's why I was amazed at some of the stuff. And especially like oral sex, things like that. It doesn't have to be physical sex that can do these things, right? But either way, it's because the intention is so strong with this demonic forces and these devil energies that go within these energies. And then when you have these soul ties, these connections, it's like a cord that connects you. So you're energetically connected. And when you're energetically connected, see my videos is doing this again. It did this the first go around. So the enemy does not want me to give this reading out. So as it glitches and as it's not catching up, it's fine. I'm going to keep doing the reading anyways because it's going to get out. So anyway, as you create these soul ties, it's like an energetic cord that ties two of you together. Now, if this person had very demonic attachments to them at that time, they're immediately transferred to you. And also, anytime they're having these demons and these demonic forces embody them, they can go right through these cords to you. So it's kind of like a lot of the things that make people develop mental illnesses, a lot of things that make people sad, depressed, all of those things. A lot of times it's not even their own energy. It is the energy from just these energetic cords and ties. Now, as I was labeling this reading, I was talking about, because of my experience, and what I was set free from had to do with, abuse and rape and things like that, right? Those are the worst kinds, right? Because when somebody imposes and creates a sex tie, a soul tie out of those sort of things, there's very, very dark, wicked forces within them. And unfortunately, that is being passed to the victim, and now the victim has all of those demons within them. And especially if it's somebody that was a multiple offender or whatever, and had done it multiple times, because, that's why I'm sure you guys have heard, that's why you're very careful. Sex is a sacred energy exchange. That's why you often know that you're not supposed to have sex unless it's with a God ordained, you're married, because when you're married, you are protected under God for that energy exchange. So when you have sexual intercourse and even, like I said, just strong physical, it can literally be through oral sex and things like that too, and you create those attachments. That's why they're ungodly, and that's why the devil can very much get in and manipulate, and that's why you often take on people's karma, and you can switch kind of karmic fates and things like that. You could then be carrying on karmic lessons that you're gonna have to now learn due to a partner you had slept with. So anyways, it takes a very, very long time to some people never fully detach, right? Because to be able to fully detach and cord cut these things, you have to physically release them. You have to give the power to releasing them, and you have to do it out of love. You can't do it out of anger. You have to accept that it was an experience that taught you these things, right? And often when we move into new relationships and stuff, it's because things didn't work out in the past, right? So there's a reason why we separated from them, right? So then, you create this energy where there's anger, frustration. It's not out of love. So then that energy tie is going to stay there, because it's it's supposed to be a love connection. So now it's kind of like a punishment that you get yourself. Now that's of course what I'm saying when you choose to be intimate with another. Like I said, this reading can go all around for many to find. So take it however you feel fitting. But it's like I said, I know that it's unfortunate, but that, when rape and things like that happen, of course, the person was unwilling, right? So it's you think, well, why did that happen? That's not fair. But see, that's where the enemy took advantage. That's where the enemy the devil was trying to use his power over God. And the only way is God, wants you to forgive what happened for you. You did nothing wrong, and to forgive the person that had done that to you, because that person that had done that to you, they were being imposed by demons. And a lot of times what causes people to turn out to be where they are going to be rapists and things like that is because there's some sort of trauma that they're overcoming, where they felt as though they had no self-control over themselves, so they needed to take power over another, and it was the devil in their mind. A lot of times rape and things like that happen, and it's not even for the sexual gratification as we often think. A lot of times it's a domination and a control, and it's a strong energy that comes from these demonic forces, right? And you need to know, a lot of the chosen 144, right? And these beautiful souls, you came in, it's the enemy knew who you were before even maybe your family did, but the enemy could have led your family to put you in these situations where you were taken advantage of, abused, molested, things like that. And it's kind of the devil kind of just got in their minds and let it right to you to happen, to kind of break you, right? So a lot of these people then go down these paths, right, where the devil has constantly had a constant strongholds on all of these beautiful souls that were here, that they were unaware that they're even connecting with. Because even though you may know, all right, I need to distance myself from toxic people and things like that, but why does all this stuff, why am I still depressed, why am I this, why am I that? Because see how clever he thought he was, because of these energy, these cords you can't see, but he had constant ways of dispatching demons to you constantly, right? So anyways, That's what I mean. And especially, that's one of the hardest things to overcome is when you know that you were taken advantage of, especially at a very vulnerable state or at any time. It's extremely hard to release that, right? To let that go out of love. And especially like if you're in a situation with somebody and then your lover cheats on you and strays and they sleep and then they come back and sleep with you, whatever demons they've picked up and attachments off of the people that they slept with now go to you, and then finding out you've been cheated on is a very traumatic thing, and then you have all of this anger and hurt, then you're not full lovable, and then now you got all these demons running through you, and you're going to constantly have them because of the energetic codes. Like, it's crazy, right? So that is why it is so important to protect your sexual, your sacred energy, your body. That's why you often hear your body is your temple and things like that. You have to create boundaries and be very careful, and really you shouldn't sleep with anybody unless you have some sort of sacred contract in marriage, things like that, right? And I know everybody doesn't like to hear that, but like I said, that's why you really shouldn't be intimate with someone unless you know, like, that's who you're going to marry. Because, you know, they're not going to be picking up those demons and all of that and subjecting that to you or whatever. You know, I know that it's very difficult. Not everybody likes to hear that. But see, you know, I'm not going to go off right now what everybody should do. Everybody has free will. That's the thing. But that's why there is very much these, you know, you have to take responsibility and actions for everybody you sleep with, right? So now we're talking about, you know, letting go of these cords, right? These energetic ties that you have to release and let them go. And, you know, there's so many different ways you can look up on YouTube, ways if you want to do physical things where you're burning candles and cutting actual string. You can, you know, like create things, whatever. But what I'm talking about is all about intentions for me, because it's the mind. Your mind really creates reality, right? You give things power, right? So that's why with the mind, you need to physically say that you're going to release to someone. You need to go to God, divine source, and apologize for your sins, right? For being, you know, you need to apologize for, you know, making that sacred energy exchange, that energetic cord, and that you would like that tie to that cord to be cut, right? That you would like to take back all of your own energy. You would like to detach from their energy. You would like to take your energy back, and you release their energy with love and lessons that you learned, that you should have protected your energy, whatever it may be, you know. But just by saying that, you're claiming back your power, you're releasing their energy, you're asking for forgiveness, and so it be. You released it to God. It's really not that difficult to do, but the hardest part is to have the true intentions on releasing it with love. So that's why I'm here to try to explain a little bit about this, that the enemy has very much been signaling out a lot of us, right? And then I want to talk about the 13:03 on the clock. So for a lot of you, like, you're going through these major healings, like deep cellular healings are happening at this time, right? So for a lot of you, like, if you weren't aware that things happened to you, they could be coming about to you within your dreams and things like that. But as you, for a lot of you, it's like, you know, if you were taken advantage of, you know, if things happened to you that shouldn't have, or things that you've always had a feeling, maybe, you know, because your mind can block things out that are very traumatic. So for some of you, you just may have been very vulnerable, very insecure about your body, things like that. You might have had hunches that things happened to you or whatever, or if you've just had any of these feelings whatsoever where you weren't comfortable in your own body, in your space, things like that, a lot of times those are signs, you know, that these things could happen. So for a lot of you, you know, you were protected, and for some, like, there was literally like some spell work done because the enemy didn't want you to know that ever happened, so you couldn't cut those ties, right? So anyway, for some of you, like, you could be getting the realization through your dreams and things like that they were happening, you know, and God has definitely been working with doing a lot of healing. The angels have been coming in and doing a lot of healing at night when you're sleeping and things like that. But you really need to pay attention to your dreams and pay attention to things that are happening, and when you're feeling called to release these things, you know, or things are getting brought to your attention, you need to know that these things are getting brought to your attention because they're allowing you to release them. Because for a lot of you, it's like you have to be released of all of this stuff. It literally has to be pulled out of you for you to be able to elevate, for you to be able to bring your light, body, and energy level up. You know, and like I got it's an interesting reading this morning that for a lot of you, it's like you cannot access these portals and these gateways to the 5D energy, holding on to these, having these strongholds, these attachments that could be imposed upon you. Because for a lot of you, it's like you need to have these, you have to have these things cleared out, because it's kind of like if you're going to have, use of abilities and gifts and things like that, it's kind of safeguarded. It's that way the devil can't have access to them, right? And can't use these things, right? So for a lot of you, that's very much why these things are happening. It's just like it's part of the ascension process. Everything's got to be cleared out. Clarity has got to be brought back in for the next step. So I've been talking about this, and things are definitely happening in phases. It's like God, Divine Source, they know how to work with you. They know how to make sure that your healing only happens at a level that it can be healed for you. So a lot of times these things happen in phases for you guys. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the investigation that I was doing right away when that I woke up, because and if you guys want to read, all of it, the link's over on my community post, right? All right, but listen to how it starts out. So it says, in this season, it is important to be aware of how Satan and his forces are using rape and other forms of violence to try to dominate the world, to prepare the way for the Antichrist's rule. Prior to the return of Jesus, as mentioned previously, Satan hates women because Jesus Christ was born through women. So Mary, the Spirit of God, Scripture says the Antichrist was no regard for women either. He hates and despises all women, so using rape and other oppressions of lower women to make vengeful against them is a lot of behind this, because it goes back to what God had done to him eons ago. Now I know that rape and all of that can impose upon anybody. It's just, this is just some of the readings. So sadly, rape is becoming a common hate-filled evil, thanks to those opposing the followers of Christ. Right? So a rape is being used to violate, kill, and humiliate the victims. It is used by cowards who are filled with the spirit of evil, men who think that they are doing what the false gods want them to do in order to bring their plans to fruition. See, so for a lot of these rapists, these people that go and do this, it's because they were very weak and they were cowards and they got manipulated and controlled by the devil. And that's why a lot of times these things happen under alcohol. Anytime alcohol is in the body, the devil and the spirits can very much get in, because you're disconnecting. You're blocking your chakras and you're disconnecting from God, Divine Source. So you can very much be taken over, right? So that may help some of you be able to release and let go, right? So if people are not saved, having submitted their lives to, talks about the born again. Hold on. So unless a man and woman are bound together in a holy matrimony, their souls combined as one, then the fornication outside of marriage is a sin before God. And sadly, this too is common today. It's a big thing to say. I'll wait for this. Okay, so many people go through life completely unaware that they can be bound to other people through these soul ties. And these soul ties are ungodly, invisible, and unhealthy for a person in all aspects, particularly if they are connected to another due to rape of any kind. Right? And I wanted to, okay, so I'm just gonna, I don't want to get too much transcendent reading. So if you want, to read more, about that, check out the images, and you can get the link over on my community post I did. So and you guys understand, when you're connecting with somebody's energy, you can manifest things physically. It's you can take on their demons, their karma, their things. It's say that person that you slept with was very, very unhealthy and had very health problems and things like that. You can start to develop those health problems too, the same things, kind of mirroring them, because it's you're connecting with their energy and their feelings. And if they're constantly struggling and feeling the anger and the rage and those pains connected with a certain illness or ailment, you can actually be manifesting those as well, right? So it's really, really important to try to release these energies as much as you can. So I know for a lot of you, like, that can be very daunting to find out now. If you've had multiple relationships and lovers, you could be thinking about those. But this is to help you and to help you realize that you have energetic ties with every person that you've ever been with, whether or not they took advantage of you or not. So you might need to go through and kind of, what's it called, repent, or just, by saying, letting go, releasing. And for some of you, you could be writing these names down and saying that you're releasing them and going to God, divine source, releasing them, but setting the attachments away with love. And like, that's why I'm explaining to you is like, so now we'll get into my story. Like, I always knew that I was taken advantage of when I was little, and I've always had like the flashes and the visions and stuff. And I knew that things, as I started to get older, I started to see, but it was always like in the dark, things like that. So I could never see the face or whatever of the person, right? And I know that it's a lot that I've had to overcome, me being very, very having my insecurities, and like, I've gone through life, like, there's certain things, like, I always feel like I have to be in control. And even though I have had partners and I've got 4 kids, mind you, outside of marriage, I didn't know this either, right? So I definitely know that I've been battling the demons and all of that, that I've taken on all of my exes' demons and things like that. And I know that I was developing some of their physical elements too. And I started to research this a couple of years ago about how, like, when you have children with people too, you get a part of their DNA. Their DNA becomes a part of you too. And that's why you may see, after you have a child with somebody, you kind of start to act like them in some ways, because your body does change, and you integrate some of their DNA as you create a child, and you will always have a piece of them with you and things like that. It's very interesting. So it's definitely a reading on that too, right? Okay, so anyway, back to my reading. So what I was getting at is that the energy codes or cords or whatever, that's why you constantly, like, feel a pull to them, these people. That's why constantly, like, for some of you might think that, like, your exes are obsessed with you and things like that, and because they're thinking of you in the connections. And I know when you have children, it's different because you have to communicate and things like that. But that's why your exes come back around. That's why when we have these retrograde times and these things like that, because you're always supposed to, until you can release these energetic ties and things like that. So for a lot of you, like, a lot of the blockages that you have, things that are stealing your energy, things that are depressing you, have you ever been, like, just so happy, and then all of a sudden it's just like a cloud comes in and just, like, steals your happiness and things like that? Those are people pulling on your energy and siphoning off of it. And especially when you're happy and stuff, if the devil's anywhere and you're watching you or whatever, I don't know how it all works with the devil, but I'm sure he's just like, yeah, send those demons right through those, because to me, he's got connections in these cords to you. That's why you often see the devil with the cords, the lovers and all of that, and the chains and all of that, right? That's why the temptation and the lust spells, and that's why there's so much. He just uses sex, magic, 2233, and lust and all of that, and temptation. That's why that's always associated with the devil, because he knows he's got a hold on you then, right? So you guys need to really protect. So for a lot of you, you can definitely eradicate these lust spells and things like that too, right? By, even if you're with somebody, but you feel as though they have a lot of healing that needs to take place, pull back your energy, even if you're married, okay? For some of you, just pull back your energy for a while, not letting anybody in your sacred temple and space while maybe they're going through a healing and things like that. But you'll start to notice that when you start to pull back your own energy and things like that, that you feel a lot better. Your physical things can start to go away, like your health can increase, your mind, just all sorts of things, right? When you're very protective of your energy and your space, and you're finding ways to release these attachments and stuff, right? All right, so anyways, back to what I was saying about things being revealed. So a lot of things are being revealed through the dream state, right? So for me, I always knew somebody took advantage of me, and I was having a lot of blockages, and I knew that when I was ready, that source would bring it about to me, right? So they finally did last night during my dream state, and it was so beautiful. And in my dream, okay, when they were revealing the person that had done these things to me, I immediately felt that it was like I knew that the person that did these things was also hurt. It's like I could feel, I don't know if this person is already passed over or if they're still here in the physical, I don't know, but I felt the remorse, the sadness. I could feel the like they were crying, um, and I think it was like inside because they felt bad because they always knew that they took advantage of me and felt guilty for it, whatever. And right away, it was like I didn't even have time to just think anger or wow. I was just, I forgive you. I send love and healing to you. That was just immediately what I said. And when I had said that, I felt all of a sudden it was just like paralysis, literally. Like I froze and I could just feel something being like lift and pulled. It was kind of like I felt like I was being pulled into like my mattress, right? And immediately I was like, God divine, like, because I've had sleep paralysis before. I've had the devil try to take my soul or whatever, right? So anyway, like I got scared or whatever, and immediately and they were like, it's okay. They were right there. It was like they were letting me know that this is the cord getting distracted, but it was also like as the cord was being cut and the tie was being released, so were the devils and the demons and all of that. It was like getting pulled out. And if you guys have ever had that happen before, where you've had demons and devils come out of you, as I have, because I've had sleep paralysis come in a few times, that you immediately feel this feeling of euphoria and just like, of just release. And it's just like, when you get something pulled out of you, it's like the light comes back into you. It's like, the only way I can explain it is kind of like in the movie Hocus Pocus, right? And Rita was talking about this earlier, like with the witches when they're sucking the life out of the child and it's starting to lose its color. It's kind of like that's what happens. And it's like once she stops, right, you can see the color comes back and she's back alive, right? You literally feel that. So I don't know, I wanted to share that. And that's what led me to, I was just like, oh my God, I finally know who it was. And I understood why it happened and everything. And I released it that fast. It was just so easy for me just to release it. But see, it's easier for me, I guess. That's why I felt into this reading, because I knew that my person that had done this to me had remorse, had, I don't know why, but I just knew that they felt remorse and guilt. And I kind of feel like they'd been carrying around this guilt for a long time, but either way, it was connecting me with all of the dark energies, and stuff. And I don't know if either way, I don't have to worry too much about them. That's not what it's about. Like I said, the devil is what uses people to do these things, right? So for a lot of you, if you've been taken advantage of, right? So if you are here, you got to this reading because of the rape and the sexual abuse and the trauma. You need to know just you were singled out by the devil. It's not even the people that did it. So if you've been holding on to hurt because it was your family, or like, how could your family have let that happen to you? How could, for some of you, like, you need to know that it was out of their control. The devil puppeteers can take over. All it takes is somebody to get sad, angry, mad, jealous, and the devil can jump in their mind to control them. So you guys, by releasing it and sending it to love, just saying, that you send them healing, you release it, that's what I mean by sending them love. By sending them love and compassion is by forgiving. That's what I mean. So just forgiving, like you had a stronghold by the devil. You were sent to destroy me. And I've been hearing that a lot lately. You were sent here to destroy me. Well, you're not. That's what I mean. And like, it's so freeing to, like, when you finally can, let go of these things, because that you do it for you. You know that those people were being controlled by the devil. They were broken. So, if you guys want to be free to not be under control of these soul ties anymore, not let any of these people that have taken advantage of you have access to your energy anymore, you have to release it with love. Even, I'm not saying like you love towards them. Think of it as you're releasing the love for God. Like, I love you, God, and I accept that I shouldn't have had that entanglement, and I'm releasing it. Or please give me all of my energy back and cut the cord and close them off. And then you're not going to be thinking about them or seeing their name around and because you've done. And then you're going to feel so much more full of life. And, you know, for a lot of you, this could be what's blocking so much stuff. This could be blocking, you know, your money, you know, resources, just your passion, your life force, your just, especially if you're a person that's of love and light and you surround yourself with it and you try to stay away from drama, but it keeps finding you. A lot of times it's because it's been secretly coming to you through these energetic cords. So cord cutting, definitely. But you can do it with your mind, your words, your actions, right? So, but yeah, so just, you know, just tell God, you know, even if these situations, like I said, you were taken advantage of or whatever, just say, God, you know, I'm releasing all of this. I know that the devil had control of people that sought me out, and I'm sending love and light out and healing to all of those people. And you release, and all of a sudden, all those cords are cut. You will feel amazing. I guarantee you. So, all right, guys, that was my reading that I had for you, or my investigation. I'm so used to saying reading. So, my investigation on this, and I wanted to share my story. So, yeah, that literally happened last night, and I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to, you know, share this to help others and help people find this, you know. And I know for a while I've went around telling people, you know, you got to be careful of your sacred energy, you know, and, you know, who you give it to. A lot of times when you pull back your energy from people too for a while, you can start to, you might start to see things differently if you are under these lust spells, because lust spells are very much real, especially if the person that's sleeping with you is being manipulated by the devil. And they can put those lust spells. It's kind of one of those things like, you know, when you fall out of love with somebody, or if you do, they look differently to you. They might not look as attractive as they once did. You kind of see them for their true colors and things like that. That's because they were under, the devil was controlling you, especially the sexual energy. That's why you didn't see them as they were. So for some of you, just by pulling back your own energy, you get more clarity. You start to see things differently. And for a lot of you, that could very much cause you to make major changes and have that more of that self-love for yourself. So, right? All right, guys, that was the reading that I had. Definitely, as always, I send love and light out to whoever is surrounding me, whoever watches me, gets my readings, whoever, you know, comments, sends likes, any of that. So if you guys want to know more, definitely check out my description box, as I'm going to be putting more things down in my description box. And if you like these investigations, right, definitely watch them, share them, you know, because I feel they're going to be very beneficial and they're going to be helping a lot of people. So, all right, guys, love and light to all of you. Bye.